Good morning and welcome to Brewing Happiness. Still on location, still having house guests. And today I wanted to talk about, I didn't do a show yesterday. Let's just be really honest. I still have a house guest. We're very busy preparing for Christmas. And the time got away. I kept saying, I'll do it later. I'll do it this afternoon. And I didn't do it. So I'm feeling a little bit guilty about that today. And that made me start thinking about guilt and forgiveness, self-forgiveness. And so maybe you, like me, have a little trouble with self-forgiveness. Maybe you're quick to forgive your friends and your family and your children and your loved ones, but when it comes to yourself, that's just a harder row to hoe, right? It's just something that doesn't come easy. Well, that's what we're going to talk about today. Why do we not want to forgive ourselves? Why do we make it so hard on ourselves, and what can we do about that? Hi, I'm Tina Ann. This is Brewing Happiness. If you're here on the replay, drop me a comment, drop me a line. We'd love to know that you stopped by. And today, like I said, we're talking about forgiveness. So I didn't do my show. I just wimped out and didn't do it. And I got up this morning feeling a little bit guilty. I made a commitment to do it every day. And then I didn't do it one day. And then all of a sudden now not doing it is not as big a deal, is it? And then I start going into this, oh my gosh, I've let myself down. I made this commitment. I should be stronger. I should be smarter. I should have more willpower. I always do this. This is my, and you're off to the races, right? And so I started thinking about self-forgiveness because years ago, I would have really punished myself for a long, long time with something like this. Or some other transgression, right? We're all humans. We all make mistakes, and those mistakes result in doing things that we're not proud of or hurting those that we love. And if you're a human being operating in the world today, you've done this. It's part of the package, right? And so I started thinking about self-forgiveness and why do we not forgive ourselves? And some of this is, well, first of all, good morning, Debbie. We have trouble forgiving ourselves because sometimes we have if we've hurt someone else, sometimes we have so much empathy for the other person that, again, we put all the empathy on them and forget to offer some of them ourselves. And honestly, you should feel empathy for that other person if you've hurt them. If you don't, your own self-forgiveness doesn't really mean much, does it? But too much empathy, not any of it coming back towards yourself, can result in forgiving them. Or maybe you know that if the roles were reversed, you would forgive them, but just can't forgive ourselves, right? And this kind of can be a pattern that can really be destructive. Now, guilt in itself is not a bad thing, and you shouldn't feel bad for feeling guilty. I mean, let's face it, guilt is it's part of our barometer of being who we are. Guilt is what we feel when we step away from our core values, right? Guilt is your mom's voice saying, I wouldn't want my mom to know I was doing this. And I always like to say, look, do it or don't, or do it or don't, but don't do it and then feel guilty about it, right? If you're going to do it, then make up your mind you've made a decision, whatever it is you've decided to do it. Or don't do it because it would make you guilty. And that's why we have guilt, right? To keep us on the right path, to maybe help us make decisions to keep us true to our core. So acknowledge the guilt. It happened, right? You have been the instrument of something that you don't like. If it's for yourself, like this was with my show, well, it's a simple conversation with yourself, but most of the time it's with someone else. So acknowledge your guilt. Admit it. That's the best way to get things past it, right? Is don't hem and haw, just say it out loud. I was wrong, and then I'm sorry. Not I'm sorry, but just I'm sorry, right? And that's how we move past it. We acknowledge and admit and apologize, And then in the normal course of things, if it were a friend, the friend would forgive you and you'd move on. And so now you're going to act as your best friend and you're going to forgive yourself and you're going to move on. And when we can't forgive ourselves, when we assume the role that we're so horrible and so bad that we can't forgive ourselves, in a little bit of a way, we're stepping into the role of God, right? Because he forgives us for everything. So when we say we can't forgive, we're holding ourselves above that, right? And that's what my go-to. If I can be forgiven, then I can forgive myself. So remember this when you're struggling with the forgiveness, right? But I think the thing that happens that makes this such a bad deal for ourselves, or the way we make it such a bad deal for ourselves, is we conflate, or we have guilt, but that brings on shame. Now, like I said, guilt, there's nothing to feel about. Admit your guilt and own up to it and use it as a tool to help keep you keep you at your center. But shame, shame is the whole other, it's guilt at the next level. So guilt, I did something wrong. I've done something. There's some action that I'm responsible for that I wish I hadn't done. Shame is there's something wrong with me. I'm defective. I'm inadequate. I'm undeserving. Inferior, right? Shame encompasses our whole being. It's easy to fix. I did something wrong. I'm sorry. What can I do to correct it? There's a path for that. But I'm broken. I'm wrong. There's something wrong with me. There's no place to go from there. Right? So I'm hopeful, excuse me, that understanding the difference between guilt and shame, being aware of it, saying to yourself, okay, here's this guilt. Yep, I feel it. I did it. I'm sorry. But that shame, there's nothing wrong with me. I'm a human being. I've made a mistake. And then I'm going to stop and think about it. What lessons can I learn? What could I do to make up for it? What might I do differently next time? Right? We can take a rational path to resolve our guilt and correct our wrongdoing. Shame takes us just down a dysphoric path of self-incrimination and self-loathing, low self-esteem, low self-image, and then all of a sudden we're unworthy of our own forgiveness. We've made ourselves into a category unlike any other category, right? We have to forgive everyone, but we are not in that category. And that's what shame can do to us. So in the big picture, recognize that shame is a conditioning of childhood. It is a conditioning of not being accepted, right? What did I write down? It's okay. Guilt is not shame. I'm going to read some notes here. What you feel when you did something wrong is different than your whole self. I already said that. I already said this. All right. So now it's time to forgive ourselves, right? Something that really helps me when I'm having trouble forgiving myself, and I'm kind of in this state of blame and shame and guilt, is I remember a time someone it has forgiven me, and it helps me to remember that others can forgive me. I can forgive myself. If you can't forgive yourself, maybe you're at a point where you're just not there yet. You want to, but you just can't quite do it. That's all right. Love yourself for wanting to. Every day, think about it. Think about what are you feeling that's guilt every day. You know what I mean? As you're thinking about it, think about what's guilt versus shame. Let go of the shame. That shame is a construct and a reflex and a leftover of another time, right? So by separating guilt, yes, I've done something wrong. I need to admit it. I need to apologize for it. I need to make it right. From shame, I am somehow fundamentally flawed. I am not worthy of forgiveness. I am not worthy of the compassion that I'm willing to show everybody else other than myself, right? Two distinct and different things. Let go of the shame. Keep the guilt. You need the guilt. It keeps you from getting in trouble. It's your mom. It's your conscience. It's your better self giving you, uh, you know, warning, warning. It's giving you warning signs that you are inching outside of your value system. There's a lot to be said for guilt. Thank it. Thank the guilt for bringing you the lesson, for helping you stay true to yourself. But let go of the shame. Let go of any feeling that you are not worthy, because you are. You're perfect. You are, each of us, a divine child of God, worthy of forgiving and forgiveness. And isn't that the name of the game? Forgive everyone for everything. When you start forgiving everyone for everything, well, the burden is so much lighter. The weight is so much lighter, right? And then you're left in a space that there's nothing left but offering love and compassion. And isn't that the message? Is always lead with love, compassion for all, grace and compassion above all, even for yourself. So that's it. Step into grace, let go of the shame. You making a mistake is not the same as not having any value. Right? We're conflating the two sometimes. We're conflating the two that says, because I have done something I wish I hadn't done, I've lost all my value. Not at all. Not at all. That's an easy thing to correct once you start thinking about it in that terms, right? Everybody makes mistakes. Some of us more than others. So step up to the plate, admit your mistakes, learn from them, apologize for them, and move on. Forgive yourself. Forgive yourself for being human, for participating in a human experience. Learn the lesson. I'm not saying continue to make the same mistake, right? Forgiving yourself means that you truly are sorry. You truly care about the outcome that was affected, and that you really would like to see a different outcome in the future. So if you can continue offending and then forgiving yourself, and offending and forgiving yourself, well, probably time to have a conversation, right? About just how much, about just, where you really feel about that action. Again, you come to grips with it. If it's something you say, no, this is the way I'm going to behave, let go of the guilt. Make your case. Anyway, doing it and then feeling guilty about it. This feels like self-flagellation, right? Like you're creating circumstances in which to beat yourself up. And if you, like most of us, we don't need any help with that. We don't need any extra opportunities to lay it on and hammer on against ourselves. So that's my show for today. It's a little short, but I wanted to get it off my chest. Guilty for not being here yesterday. I'm going to try to step up to the plate and be here every day, and not let the fact that I have missed a couple of shows now give me permission to continue being haphazard as I make a decision about continuing daily, or, not. Anyway, the life is hard. We all screw up. We all make mistakes. It's okay. It's okay. Step up to the plate, own it, get past it, and for goodness sakes, don't allow that shame to take over and cripple you. Be compassionate to yourself. Be your own best friend. Oh, and then I wanted to find. Oh, I forgot. I wanted to read 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verses 4 and 5. Pardon me, I put my glasses. As the failure to forgive ourselves hinders our love of others, so our love of others can bring self-forgiveness. Well, didn't they say it all right there, right? It's all about leading with love. Oh, I'm having trouble here. It's all about leading with love, giving it away, putting compassion first. Everything else is noise. Love you all. Thanks for stopping by. Hope you enjoyed your cup of coffee this morning. And until tomorrow, make it a happy day. Remember, there are no mistakes in life, only lessons. Oh, just finally saw this, Debbie. Oh, I already said goodbye, but that's okay. That's exactly right. No mistakes in life. We are who we are today because of every single thing we've done, whether we consider it right or wrong, good or bad. Everything we do is a building block to who we are. I wish I had my poem choices in front of me because it would be perfect in this situation. But flying low tech today, and sadly, I don't know it by heart. Anyway, that's the story. Thank you, Debbie. Until tomorrow, make it a happy day.